Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. And today I'm going to talk about this watch here. Not too fancy and not too expensive. It's the Casio A168. And I was able to just drive down to Walmart this morning and pick one of these guys up for about $22. Now, heads up, it would have cost me $20 instead of $22 if I had ordered it online first and then waited until it was ready for pickup at Walmart and then bought it that way. I don't know, say what you will about Walmart. Sometimes, when I say, hey, the online price was this and your in-store price was this other thing, and, they'll match the price for me. But in this case today, they didn't want to do that, and I didn't want to argue with the cashier. So anyway, check it out. Maybe you can order this online. Again, $20. Go pick it up at your convenience later that day. So let's peel this off here and just take a good look at this. Now, in many ways, this is reminiscent of the F91W, a very popular, inexpensive Casio watch that, it's been touted all over the world as, the most affordable, just practical, tells you the time watch out there. This one a little bit fancier because it has a metal bracelet. And it's not really a metal case. I think this is just plastic with sort of a chrome plating on it. But in many ways, very similar to that very simple F91. It does not have a lot of functions and features. It's water resistant, but not 50 bar, just very basic water resistance. So you can get it wet, you can wear it while you're washing your hands. I would say it's probably okay to, get it more wet than just a simple splash, but you wouldn't want to press it too hard. And I know people out there are very, very scared of the water resistant rating. You could say something was rated for 100 meters and you'd have people online saying, oh, I wouldn't go swimming with it. And, that's just not, no. I might dunk this in water now and then, but maybe I wouldn't go swimming with it. I don't know. I've got other watches. Why bother risking the water resistance? But anyway, I'm just saying you don't need to be as afraid about water resistance as some other people are. Okay, so as you see, a very simple watch. It's got hours, minutes, and seconds for the time. It's got the day of the week up there and the date. And then it can be either a 24-hour or a 12-hour display. And you can toggle that on and off with this button on the right side. Doesn't do a whole lot of other things. So as I go through the mode here, let me just show you mode. Okay, the first thing you've got there is an alarm, and it's one alarm. Unlike some of the other G-Shocks and things I'm used to that maybe have 3 alarms or 5 alarms, this only has one alarm. So to set the alarm, I would tap this button here that's marked light, okay, and then that starts to blink. So I can advance that. Let's maybe just say I'm going to make it 7 a.m. I could, add some minutes to that if I wanted to, but right there, that's it. Now the alarm is set for 7 a.m. and that little indicator up there in the corner indicates that the alarm is set. Now if I tap this start stop button right now, then that turns off the alarm but turns on the hourly chime. Or if I press it again, now they're both on, and I press it again, now they're both off. So there you go, very simple and very similar to what you might expect on a lot of digital watches. Next, mode is, since I did something in the alarm mode, it took me right back to timekeeping mode. But if I were to press mode again and go past alarm and then go here to the stopwatch mode. And again, very simple, start and stop the stopwatch right there. Now, does it have a lap feature or a split time? Yes, it does with that light button up there. Now there's my split time and the stopwatch was still running. So also I can go split and then I can stop it. And then I can unsplit that and get my actual ending time, press light again, and I've reset it to 0. So again, it may seem a little counterintuitive because this says start, stop on this button here, and this one doesn't say, split or anything like that. But you can figure it out. It's very similar to a lot of other, watches with stopwatches built into them. And now if I press mode again, I go back to timekeeping. Now I go to alarm, stopwatch, and if I press it again, now this is where it will allow me to set the time. And the thing about this is I haven't set the time on it yet. See, it's wrong. So all I have to do, and again, with 3 buttons, it may be counterintuitive a little bit on how exactly to set the time. But here's what you do. Right now, blinking seconds. And see, things aren't clearly marked exactly how to reset that, but it's actually the start and stop button that will reset the seconds to 0. So if I wanted to synchronize this with a known source, this is a G-Shock that is set to the correct atomic time. So all I'd have to do is when this one reaches 0 seconds, I could tap the start-stop button and reset that to 0 seconds as well. So I guess we could take a moment and actually show you how that's done here in just a couple of seconds. Okay, well, close enough. Okay, so there, seconds is now basically synchronized there. Now, while things are still blinking, I need to press the light button to adjust the next thing, which is hours. So I need to change that to, that would be 3 p.m., or in this case, 15 hours because it's in 24-hour mode. Now I press, this would be the light button again, and minutes. So what I want on minutes is going to be 46. So if I just keep tapping that until I get ahead, or I guess I could hold it down and it will go fast for me, get it up to 46. And so now we're basically synchronized there, other than the fact that it's, in 24-hour mode, and the date is wrong too. So again, while things are still blinking, press the light button, and the month. The month is wrong. I need to set that to December, so 12 for the month. Light, and press this again. It's December 7th today. Then press light again, and now here I'm going to press to set the day of the week, in this case Saturday. And now press light, and it takes me back here. So what I can do is press mode and get right back to the regular timekeeping mode without anything blinking. Now everything is set. If I wanted to, again, easily toggle between the 24-hour display or the 12-hour display, I just do that. If it's PM, you'll see a PM indicator. If it's AM, there'll just be nothing there. And if it's in 24-hour mode, then it'll just be, 0 up to, 23:59 for the time there. So pretty simple. Again, a little bit counterintuitive, or just not as easy to figure out because there's only 3 buttons. They're not perfectly labeled. And if you just scroll through the mode here, so I'm not quite used to the idea of if I press the mode button to go past these modes, and I'm in stopwatch mode, and then I want to go back to the regular timekeeping mode, I have to go past this blinking thing here where I might accidentally reset the seconds or do so, if I press the wrong button. But if I just hit mode again, things stop blinking and I'm back there. So again, it's simple. It's very similar to some of the very, very low priced Casio watches, and only one alarm, simple stopwatch. Maybe not my first choice if I'm going to grab a watch and go, but if I just need something that's almost like a beater watch, something that I'm not too concerned because it's not an expensive watch, could be a good choice. Could be a starter watch for a young person because, as you can see, it's a bit smaller than your typical G-Shock Square. Certainly smaller than some of the really big G-Shocks. Smaller than the 6900 watch there. Certainly smaller than the Gravity Master watch. And if you want to see how it looks on my wrist is about 7.5 inches, maybe 7.25, and that's how it looks there. It's a good looking watch. Certainly has that feel of an older, 1980s watch or even a 1970s watch. Although in the 70s, a lot of watches didn't have the 6-digit readout for the time there with hours, minutes, and seconds. But some of them did by the very last year of the 1970s. Shiny and nice and inexpensive, and maybe the right thing for you. Now the fit on the bracelet, it's actually pretty easy to adjust. Okay, so what you have to do here is where this clasp comes together. As you can see, there's kind of a little hook there, and it just goes. There's a little rod there. Hook around that rod, and then snap it closed. And then to undo it, you just pull that up and unhook that from the rod. But now what you need to do if your wrist is bigger or smaller, you need to adjust this part of the clasp outward or inward to make it larger or smaller. And you can do it with something as simple as, maybe this little thing on a fingernail clippers, right? All I have to do is get in there and just kind of tip that up. So now that that is loose right there, that part of the clasp, see how that's loose? And now this little piece will slide back and forth. You get it to the place that's the right fit for you. And then you just snap this back closed. Then try it on. Get that little hook to go around that little rod again. Snap that shut. Not too bad. Oh, I think I just made it a little too tight. But anyway, easy to adjust. And I can do that off camera and make it a perfect fit for me. Now, I showed you how when you set the watch, to set the time on it and the date, what you do here is you have the month and the date and then the day of the week, and you have to program those in there. Now, with some of my other watches, like this G-Shock, for example, you would set the month and the date and the year, and then the watch would figure out what day of the week that is, and it would adjust for leap years. So when you have years with a date that's February 29th, this watch would know that every time. Whereas this watch here, the A168, does not know the difference between February in a leap year and February in a non-leap year. So what you'll have to do with this watch, if there is a leap year, it'll go from February 28th to March 1st. The day of the week will be correct, but then, it will have skipped the February 29th on there. So you'll have to go in and, manually adjust the date. This watch has a backlight, and if you hold the button down, the backlight will stay on just as long as you hold the button down. It's an electroluminescent backlight. If you hold it down too much, I suppose that battery won't last the full 7 years, but it's kind of nice to know that it'll stay on for as long as you hold it down. This runs on a lithium 2016 battery, which should last about 7 years, they say. So again, very simple watch. Runs a long time, does what you needed to do. But you may be wondering, Greg, why did you buy this watch? You could have bought this a long time ago. What made you want to buy this today? Especially since it's so affordable. What's going on? All right, I'll tell you. Casio has been doing some interesting things with vintage watches or vintage style watches lately. And so this one kind of fits in there. Again, looks like a watch that you might have found 40 years ago if you were shopping for Casio watches. Part of that is for what it does, they didn't really have to update the style or the functions very much. But Casio has been paying tribute to itself lately. And this is one of the watches where they've come out with a brand new watch, which has this same basic look. However, what's inside the new watch is much more advanced. So I bought this so that I could compare it to another watch that I just ordered. And even though I could go down and pick this up at Walmart today, it was just right there on the shelf. The other one that I ordered, I'm going to have to wait a few days for that to come in. And that one is called the ABL-100. They come in kind of this silver chrome-ish look here. They also have kind of a gold tone look, which looks very, very retro as far as that color goes. And then there's one that has kind of a negative display and some things going on there. When it comes to the ABL-100, what they've done is they've basically taken this style here, but inside, instead of one alarm, then the ABL-100 has 5 alarms, similar to what I'm used to on these G-Shocks. It also has a Bluetooth connection so that it can set itself to the correct time through a link on a telephone or smartphone or tablet, the smart devices. So those are some interesting, updated features, and also has a step tracker, step counter, and a little bit more advanced, stopwatch countdown timer. Those sorts of things are all included in the ABL-100. While it still kind of looks like this one that only costs $20, the ABL-100, the lowest price I found for the silver tone one is about $80. Although I was able to find it for $75 at Macy's, and they had a coupon deal going, which I think is going through the rest of this month. If you want to try it, gave me 15% off. So after tax and everything out the door, free shipping, it was about $68 and change for me to get the ABL-100, which again is coming soon. And then I'll do a side-by-side comparison of this with the ABL-100. So it's kind of like, okay, if you really like the retro look, but you want a watch that can set itself to the right time and be accurate down to the second because of that smartphone link, you might want the ABL-100. Do you want to pay $68 or $80 or more for that when it still looks like this? I don't know if you want to do that or not. Meanwhile, see, I haven't really talked about this before, but Casio, and you probably know this if you've been following Casio at all, they've been celebrating the 50th anniversary of their first digital watch, the LCD watch. It was the Casiotron. So right now they are offering from Casio an updated version of the Casiotron, the TRN50. And there are 3 variations of that one out there, and they're all limited edition and they're all very expensive. So I'll ask you, and you may want to ask yourself, would you spend $500 and up for a new Casiotron that looks like a 50-year-old design that they sold, 50 years ago? However, it has updated features inside of it. So the Casiotron that you can buy now, well, if you can find it, because they're limited edition, they're sold out, they're super expensive. But if you wanted to go look for one or find it on eBay and pay a premium to someone who already bought it, would you want features like Multiband 6 and a Bluetooth connection and tough solar power for your Casiotron, all those modern features inside a watch that looks like something that you would have bought 50 years ago? And also looks like a watch you could probably buy today for, much, less than $50. Would you want to pay more than $500 for the Casiotron? Personally, for me, no. I can sort of appreciate it, but I was talking to my wife about it and thinking, well, this would be like if someone said, I can get you a car today that would have all the electronics inside of it, all the comforts, all anti-lock brakes and cruise control and, power steering, power brakes, great suspension, all those sorts of modern features you would expect in a car. And it would cost just as much as a very, kind of a premium car, but it would always look like a Ford Pinto from the early 70s. Would you like that car? I don't think most people would go for that. But with watch collectors, we enjoy a vintage look and a classic look. And so some people are out there and enthusiastically pay more than $500 for the new version of the Casiotron. For me, not so much. I think it's more my speed to say, I'll get a watch that looks like this, that has some fancy components inside and costs less than $100. I'll try that out before I'll pay upwards of $500 for a Casiotron tribute watch. It just doesn't make sense to me to pay that much money for it. And with all due respect to those of you who would do that or have done that, all right. But I'll stick here, and in the coming weeks, I'll get that ABL-100 video out, and I'll kind of compare the two and have some fun with that. Maybe that would be more your speed as well if you want to try and get the ABL-100. Anyway, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this, and think about subscribing to the channel if you want to. That's something I've neglected to ask people to do, but if you want to, that would probably help out here and help me make more episodes of the Good Timekeeping Show.